and welcome back to the Izzy and Alex show. Today we have an amazing guest, but first make sure you like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. But first, let me introduce our very special guest. It is Dee Kelly, star of Benefit Street and Celebrity Big Brother. Welcome, Dee.
Hi, Alex. Hi, Izzy. Thank you for having me. I like the amazing bit in the introduction.
Oh, you are. We can't believe we've got such an icon on our show today.
Yeah.
Honestly, we're so excited.
Oh, blushes. Or maybe it's just flushes. It's an age thing.
Oh, thank you so much for joining us today.
You're so welcome.
Oh, thank you. We thought we'd start from the very beginning. So what was your childhood like in Birmingham growing up?
Oh, do you know something? I can hand on heart say I had the best childhood ever, and way before your time. Do you know what I mean? Because obviously we're talking back in the 70s. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, because I hit the big 50 a couple of weeks ago.
No, you're lying.
Yes, no, I wish I was. No, definitely. Hit the big 50, but childhood was just fantastic. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like we just lived on a street, my mum and dad and me and my sister and all our mates and our neighbours, and it was just fantastic because there was no kind of I don't know, we were just brought up in a carefree world kind of thing, I suppose, and everyone used to play out together all the time and go school in and out of everyone's houses, and I think that's kind of what sort of instilled in me and how I wanted everything to be like when I had kids, because I wanted them to have the same kind of childhood that I had. But no, it was absolutely amazing. It was brilliant.
So in terms of benefits then, I still feel like to this day there is a huge stigma around it. Can you tell us a little bit about how that was growing up? Like, do you feel like there still is a stigma, and do you think there was a stigma back then?
See, I think back then I could probably say no. Well, not so much no, but probably that I wasn't more aware of it, if that makes sense. Because obviously, mum and dad, well, we were kids. So as a child, I don't think sort of, a lot of what your parents did or what they didn't do, it wasn't kind of instilled in the child. Children were allowed to be children. But then growing up, obviously, we had all these training schemes. So you went to school, you finished school, you went either, you either got a job or you went to college or university, or you went on the YTS, and I don't know, I think you were kind of protected from all that thing, or even just sort of unaware of it, because I think a lot of the times you'd be unaware of something unless you're personally involved in it. But even with regards to kind of the benefit system, obviously, I ended up on benefits, I think it was in 2006. So even then you don't kind of, you just live your life how you live your life. But I was aware, I'd never look down on anyone or never think you're better than anyone or anything like that. But it was the documentary. It was the Benefit Street documentary and the reaction to it that then kind of, I suppose, brought to the forefront of, whoa, there are people out there who absolutely hate people who are part of the benefit system, if that makes sense. But then there's also people out there who are like, do you know something, you're just like me, and that's how we have to live, and people think we're the lowest of the low, and so it was definitely the documentary that highlighted to me, I suppose, how other people react to other people because of a situation that they're in.
Yeah, because so you think that the documentary basically portrayed people with benefits in such a in not a very nice way, basically. So you think it, because I feel like it brought, I mean, I was only about 15 when the documentary came out, but I remember it was being discussed more in schools, benefits, and it was more
that's really weird you saying that, Alex, because I've even with regards to my children, there's a 10-year age gap between my kids.
Yeah.
And it's kind of with regards to both of them, I don't think it is discussed in schools. Do you know what I'm saying? And it's and that's kind of a I don't know if it's a strange thing, but you do talk all the time. I mean, obviously the subjects in schools are subjects that kids need to
Yeah.
learn, obviously. You know, they get to pick their sort of core subjects depending on which path they want to take in life. But I think a massive part of what is missing in the education is subjects relating to real life.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you in terms of like tax. Like I don't know anything about tax or like finance or anything, but also like the social side. I think, yeah, I remember it was only because of Benefit Street. This is why we really wanted you on, that like benefits were being discussed like at school. I don't know what it's like now, obviously, but I remember at the time it was like, these are real people. Like you could, do you know what I mean? And like how you can,
Um, sorry, yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. It's kind of like, but I think the documentary, obviously we're going back now to 2014.
yeah,
It was obviously the most watched documentary of all time
yeah,
at the time. Do you know what I mean? It was not just in this country, it was actually all over the world. Do you know what I'm saying? And it's like, and it's hard to kind of like to fathom that a group of people just just living their life. Do you know what I mean? It's in some cases it's kind of, wow, people really live like that. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? And then in other cases it's like, well, there's nothing wrong with it. That's how we are. You know what I
yeah,
mean? It's kind of, I think it just really showed the oh, what do you call it? Like a class gap, if that
yeah.
makes sense. And and it was just really strange. But on the other hand, it kind of, you know, maybe it did highlight to some people that, you know, I mean, in our eyes, we were not living the best life, if that's right, but making the most out of the life that we had. You know what I'm saying? Which was just normal. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? It's like normal. But then to the other extreme, it was kind of like, you always kind of get it, don't you? It's like, you know, the taxpayer at the time always feels hard done by when they see someone who's not paying taxes, maybe, you know, with a smile on their face. What exactly do you want people to do? Do you know, it's, but again, it's kind of like, you know, it's the way you're portrayed as well. But
Yeah.
if you're going to be portrayed in a positive light, then you're not going to receive the controversy, are you? And it's like, it was very bittersweet, I suppose.
Mm.
So, in terms of the show Benefit Street, can you tell us a little bit more about that, what that was like, and whether you still speak to anyone from the show?
See, it's like really strange. It's kind of like, obviously, you know, it was my home. It was James Turner Street, and it was in Birmingham, and it's one of the tiniest streets that you could probably ever find. Do you know what I'm saying? And it's like, um, the documentary, obviously, I don't, it'd be hard to kind of say how we actually ended up in it, to be fair. You know, they just appeared on the street. And because we were just one great big massive family, everyone just took part. But everybody, and by everybody, I mean, you know, working people, married people, old people, young people. And that's the laugh of it. They filmed with us, the residents, for over 18 months. And then obviously edited it down to 6 hours of just showing people who were part of the benefit system. um that's how it kind of came about. But and it's just really surreal because I remember, obviously, the show aired at 9 o'clock on a Monday night. By about 10:30, the street had turned into like a tourist attraction, and we just had honest to God, I'm going to say probably about 1 million people over the time, and that I honestly do not feel that that is an exaggeration, you know. um Turning up on the street, knocking people's doors, climbing through people's windows. Do you know what I'm saying? So obviously, you know, I had to move away in the end, but I do still speak to a lot of people who were on the street, but not a lot of people who were in the show, sadly.
So obviously you explained that like people just turn up. Like, what's your thoughts on it now? Do you think it's impacted your life in a positive way or a negative way?
See, it's kind of like, that's kind of like really weird as well, because I could actually honestly, hand on heart, say both.
Yeah.
um I mean, it depends on how you look at it. Obviously, due to the opportunities and everything that have arisen from it, it's positive. Do you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like, it gave normal, normal everyday people a voice who were part of the system, because that's what I did. I've sort of, by going on the defensive and having to defend yourself against people who, the ones who did target you, and and I kind of like, I'm a fight back kind of person, what I'm saying? It's like, not like physically fight back, but more verbally.
Yeah.
But then the negative side as well is that obviously it did turn everyone's life upside down, and I did have to move, and it's very bittersweet, isn't it? Because it's like, it's just strange, because you go from being, just Dee, if that makes sense, to being, oh my God, that's Dee, who's been on the telly and been in this and been this, and do you know what I mean? And it's kind of like, there's no, well, I wouldn't say no private life anymore, and it's, do you crave a private life? Do you want a private? But it's just strange, because obviously the opportunities I've had, I just cannot knock. Do you know what I'm saying? And the positive is, obviously it took me out of a system that I was so demonized for being a part of.
Yeah.
But also it's kind of, put me out there, and it's like, well, you can't walk around a supermarket, or you can't this, or you can't that, and it's strange. So there's kind of like little bits of bad in the positive side, but also so much good, because I've met some truly amazing people. Do you know what I mean? And I've got some, amazing friends and everything in my life that I've met since the documentary, and you kind of can't knock that, can you? It's like,
So obviously you're well known for obviously being on Celebrity Big Brother as well. Can you tell us a little bit more about what that was like? Because we're quite big fans of the show. Like, we actually miss watching it, because it was good. It was good entertainment. But what was it like being on inside the house?
see, I'm so like you guys, you know what I mean? I've got to be probably one of the biggest fans of Big Brother, but I'd never,
Yeah.
ever, ever imagined myself being in there, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I've never wanted to go in. I just, just want to sit there and just watch everybody else's lives. But kind of like, that came at like a really good time for me, shall we say, because obviously, the press coverage and media attention and everything was so full on. And I kind of like just went in there for a break. Really, to escape like the real life outside this thing, which is mad. But like, when I was in there, to me, it was just so surreal, because I was kind of in there not as a contestant in there. I was in there and it just felt like I was sitting at home watching it, if that makes sense. Because I remember like George, who was from Gogglebox, me and him would just spend so much time sitting outside going, oh my God, have you seen who's over there? And then we're like, well, hang on a minute, we're actually living in the same house as them. Do you know what I mean? And it was like, it was just so surreal, but honestly up there with one of the best times of my life ever.
So obviously in the show there was some iconic moments. There was the two that really stick in my mind from your series was launch night, when you had to pretend to be the Duchess of Solihull. That was amazing. And also when Frenchie ripped, or like scissors, the shorts. What was it like? I feel like your season in particular, you had like Gary, Frenchie. You had some very big characters. What was it like to live with that? Because I feel like as a viewer, it was amazing, really entertaining. But what was it like actually being a housemate?
See, this is the thing, Alex, honest to God, and whenever I talk to anybody about that, from living in it, if that makes sense,
Yeah.
we just kept saying, oh my God, this is going to be, or got to be, one of the most boring series ever. And that's from actually being inside the house, because it seemed like living inside the house that nothing ever happened, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But then obviously when you speak to people outside, and you're like, oh, maybe not then, you see like little clips. Obviously, Frenchie was absolutely off her rocker.
Yeah.
But I absolutely love her to bits. I still speak to her to this day. Do you know what I mean? And she'll FaceTime me and FaceTime the kids. I'm like, oh God. But she is just what she says on the tin. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, she's just so amazing. But Um, I yeah, it is just so weird. And obviously, you say launch night. I was the first person, and this is what I'm saying. It's like I was the first person ever in the history of Big Brother, I think, to actually enter the house
Yeah.
twice. And I mean, that was you saying one of the bed. I mean, that was the most horrendous time of my life. I had to have this weave stuck on my head, and it had like about 400 bloody hairpins. Sorry for them, I don't even realize they're bloody, but
Oh, you can
400
swear, you can swear.
hairpins stuck in my hair. And I remember sitting up in bed the one night, and I tried to sleep so many, and I kept getting stabbed in the head by these hairpins. So I went to the toilet, ripped it out, and I thought, that's it, gone. Had this hairpiece, no, and they told me the next day that I had to put it back in, and I'm like, well, how on earth am I going to put this back in? Do you know what I'm saying? So I ended
Yeah.
up with like the worst weave ever for about 3 days. But like I got bit by a corgi. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, I got bit by a corgi, which I just wasn't expecting at all. But it was kind of like, I don't know, all the way through it, it just still felt so surreal to me, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And it was just weird. Whereas, you know, you'd be asked to do these tasks, and I'm kind of like rolling my eyes, thinking, "Am I really doing this?" Because I've had no interest in doing it ever before. Do you know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
like, but again, like I said, the characters were just so weird. And I mean, you know, obviously I had to stop quite a few fights.
Yeah.
Between, you know, but that's just what I do kind of at home. I was just in there, and I was just like looked at each and every single one of them as like my kids. And I'm like, oh, the kids are fighting again. Do you know what I mean? Let me just go over and try and stop them. But it was brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant.
And in terms of the show, obviously we only see an hour of what you see 24 hours of. Is it, would you say it is what it is on the telly is the same? Is it the
No.
same? No, is it not?
No, not at all. And that's the one thing. It's like it is just, I think once you're part of something like that, I think that's when you realize, and it kind of ruins things for you, if that makes sense. Because then obviously when you come out, you're watching these programs and you're like, I know that don't happen. I know that don't happen. It kind of takes the enjoyment away a bit, because you turn more into, instead of turning, you know, being a fan and enjoying it, I'm kind of like, oh yeah, well, we know what happens there, and we know, you know what I mean? And to me, I suppose, being a fan and going into something and then realizing sort of how much of it is kind of staged, it does kind of like, you know, it deflates you a little bit.
Yeah, that's so interesting though, because like we're obviously both massive Big Brother fans, but we've spoken to quite a few people that have done like Strictly and like RuPaul's Drag Race as well. And I do remember seeing a clip actually from one of the Celebrity Big Brothers. I think it was the one that Bear was in, and it showed them all like waking up. I remember it got leaked or something, and like they'd all gone to sleep and then like woken up.
Yes.
So I was wondering, was there anything like that, like that we would like? Would they just stop filming them like, right, that's a wrap? Because that's so like,
It was kind of not like along the lines of it's a wrap, if that makes sense.
right,
And it was just weird because obviously, you know, it's strange because you did have a bedtime and you did have a getting up time. Do you know what I mean? And
yeah,
it's kind of like, and you were locked in a bedroom, and it was, you know, it was just so kind of like, but you know, like when you'd get called to the diary room or whatever, and if ever you wanted to go to the diary room, you could be waiting like about 6 hours for them to open the door. But
really,
like, yeah, and it's kind of like, it's just, I don't know, but it's just, I don't, it's even like with the tasks and everything. I suppose the tasks are there, but they're not kind of just dropped on you as much as you probably think they're dropped on you.
yeah,
But the only thing I can say that is true to life is, obviously, you know, I thought, you know, you're going into Celebrity Big Brother, rare, 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 rare. But you know, I thought, oh, watch this, because it's the celebrity version, you will kind of be let away with a lot of things. But no, so you actually don't have contact with any, and that I think was the really hard bit, because I was thinking, oh, they will let me speak to the kids, or they will
yeah.
this, or they will, no, No, not at all. And they don't feed you. And I mean, because we couldn't pass a task for love nor money, we couldn't. And we lived on flipping lentils and chickpeas for about 3 weeks, I think, before we saw a chicken. You know what I mean? So kind of to that extent, it is true, there is no contact with the outside world at all. But again, it's kind of like, I don't know. I suppose it's just to do with time. And I mean, the cameras are on 24 hours a day, because when you're sleeping, you can just hear them, or trying to sleep, you can actually hear them moving in the walls. Oh my God, it just used to drive me mad. I remember sitting up in the bed the one night. It must have been like a scene out of The Exorcist. And I'm banging on this wall and I'm going, shut up! Shut up! You know what I mean? It's kind of, and I could hear the ones, and I think there must have been two of the cameramen were having a chat, and they were talking about the football, and they were giving the football scores. So I'm trying to listen up, and I'm thinking they're giving the football scores there. But but I suppose it's the same as every aspect of TV. You've got to have an element of, I'm going to use the word setup, if you know what I mean, but in the production of kind of a reality TV show. And I think that's why they did up to the editing it, and it's hard, isn't it, when you're editing a 24-hour day into a 1-hour program.
Yeah, definitely. So with the cameras then, like I know what you mean. I'd find it so weird, like being asleep and then knowing that cameras are like literally watching me.
See, honest to God, it is so weird, because I suppose in the house, the cameras are so like tiny that you kind of don't see them, if that makes sense. But it's kind of, like when you just be sitting there or whatever, and all of a sudden it moves. That's when and it used to scare the life out of me. It really did, because I think when you're not used to filming TV shows, etc. I mean, I was completely, you'd forget that they were there.
Yeah.
But then it's just hearing them just running through the walls, and then it's strange. Or all of a sudden, depending on the lighting, you'd catch a glimpse of someone behind the mirror, and it'd absolutely scare the life out of you. But then you're like, oh my God, I keep forgetting there's people in them walls. Do you know what I mean? It's like, but yeah, it was just so weird.
Oh my gosh. And obviously you said that you still speak to Frenchie, but is there anyone else? I feel like your season was really split up. Like I remember you being good friends with like Ricky and
still am. Love that boy to bits. I speak to Ricky all the time. All the time. I absolutely love him so much. Yeah.
But then there was like James and Gary, who was sort of like, yeah.
Yeah. But James, believe it or not, wasn't that bad. I actually really like James.
Oh, really?
Yes. Yeah.
No, I didn't call
yeah. Did it not? Did you not? Are you sure you're on about me? Because don't forget Kelly.
Oh yeah,
Kelly and it was Kelly and James. And this I'm saying, Kelly and James. I dread to even think if them two came face to face. Do you know what I mean? But obviously, I'm still. I'm the person. The two people that I see and speak to all the time is Kelly and Ricky.
Yeah.
They are probably my top two. And then obviously George and Frenchie.
Yeah.
I message Audley all the time. And, and even like on social media, we still speak to like, we'd message like James, etc. And that's what I'm saying. It was a really, really close house. And I'm blessed by that as well. Because like I said to you, do you know what I mean? It's like, it's just so surreal that that obviously I'm still really good friends with with a few people who were in there. It's brilliant.
So you've recently kind of since then you've gone more into acting and everything. So what kind of made you want to get into that?
Oh, Izzy, don't be fooled. I'm telling you, I'm definitely no actor. I'll tell you, I've actually, believe it or not, I've appeared in one film, and it's actually an award-winning film, which I'm really shocked about. And I think what it was is because of how high profile I was. I suppose all these offers kept coming in, and I am of the mindset of, why not give it a go? Do you know what I mean? It's like I said, I've never ever grown up wanting to be a movie star, but I am actually in a film. Do you know what I mean? All right, it might not be one of these great big like Spielberg blockbusters, but the awards, obviously I filmed it. It's called Ray and Liz, and it's based on a true life story of Richard Billingham, who's a very, very famous photographer. Um, and we kind of grew up round and about the same area and round and about the same time. But his childhood compared to mine, if you watch the movie, is what I'd probably class as kind of like horrific. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's kind of just and that kind of really pulled at my heartstrings because, like I said, we were only probably a couple of miles down the road from each other. Um, but I went and I gave it a go, and the feedback regarding that film has been absolutely fantastic. And like I said, you know, the movie was twice BAFTA nominated. It's won awards in all the film festivals, or most of the film festivals around the world. And that's kind of like, and for that kind of accolade, I'm kind of really blessed. But like I said, you know, I went, I tried, I did it. And I don't know if, you know, the movie star life is the life for me, but I gave it a go. It's
Because me and my family watched it in lockdown, Ray and Liz, and you say you're not an actress, but honestly, we were watching it, and you know when you know someone. And I was like, oh, but because you were obviously dressed up, and we were like, oh, I swear she's been in EastEnders or like.
I know her.
I know her. We didn't think from like the reality TV route. We thought like from the actor. We were like, oh, like what other films has she been in? And we were like, oh my god, it's Dee from Big Brother. Like that's crazy. But so you say you're not an actress, but we were like, you fully convinced all of us. So would you do any
Mad,
more?
isn't it?
Yeah, it's mad. Would you do any more acting?
Well, define acting, because obviously, you know, not last year, but the year before, obviously, you know, we've been in lockdown, etc. I did my first ever panto. And
Oh,
again, I was totally petrified. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, because when they handed me this script, I'm like, oh my God. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, how am I going to learn all them words?
yeah.
Like, and I've got to sing and I've got to dance and I've got to talk. And I'm like, but you know, it's kind of, it's very hard work. You know, the amount of work that goes into, I mean, you know, don't get me wrong, I've been to so many pantomimes. And as a viewer watching, there's no way in this world would you ever think the amount of work that went into it. But what were you? My son's just walking past laughing away. He's probably thinking, I want my headphones back, Mum. But and again, it's kind of like, you know, I mean, I don't, but I absolutely smashed it. But, you know, and again, it's again, you know, it was my first ever pantomime. Would I do it again? Probably would, but it's like it's kind of, whew, you know what I mean? It's, I kind of just do things and think, well, you can only give things a try, can't you? And it's, but oh, the pantomime was just amazing, and like obviously the film was amazing, but I don't know. We'll see. Whatever comes in, I'll just give it a go.
Yeah. Oh, that's such a good attitude to have, honestly.
And I think, you know, it is kind of the right, and I think because what it is that you get so used to everyone saying, it's like when the rumors first started coming out about, you know, Dee's going into Celebrity Big Brother, rare, and you know, the social media, well, she's not a celebrity, who does she then? The more people that tell me that I can't do something, my attitude is, well, you know what, I'm not asking them to go in, they're asking me, so I am going to go in. Do you know what I mean? And I kind of like, I do things, I will do something because people's attitudes are like, you know, like along that line is so negative. And I'm kind of like, well, you know something, at the end of the day, I'll do what I want to do. Do you know what I mean? It don't matter. And it's not like you know, I didn't pick up the phone, ring Celebrity Big Brother and say, oh, my name's Dee, I've been on a documentary, I really want to go into the Big Brother house.
Yeah.
No, because I'd never ever do that. Do you know what I'm saying? I'd be like, yeah, I'd be very happy just sitting sitting on my sofa watching it on a TV screen. But they approached me, and I thought, you know, some of the more people, who does she think she is? They said, well, I'll tell you what, just to really annoy you, I'm going to actually go in then. It's kind of, so I more do it to annoy the people who say that you can't do it, you know, and that's kind of how I roll.
Yeah.
Was that what got you into doing reality TV? And then because it's more of a case of, like, as you said, people don't often apply nowadays. They get either scouted or mainly scouting. So was it more like, I'm just going to take this opportunity, and it kind of just kind of went from there?
I think that's exactly right, Izzy. And it's like, you know, it's it took a lot of thinking about, obviously, because like I said, you know, I was like you, I've watched it from day one, and I watched it up until the very, very last episode, you know what I'm saying, and never wanted to go in. But it's about taking, if an opportunity comes your way, do you know what I'm saying? It's like, I'm a believer in, you can't really live with regrets. So, you know, you've got this opportunity, it's right here in front of you. It's up to you then. Do you want to take it or don't you? You know, but either way, it's your choice, because I'm glad that I did, but I probably wouldn't have regretted if I hadn't, if that makes sense. It's, you know, it's about seizing the moment, shall we say, you know what I mean? It's like the pantomime. I've never been in a pantomime. I've never ever wanted to be in a pantomime. And then when I was sort of approached about it, I'm kind of like very of the mindset, oh, I don't know, I've never done it before, I don't think I can do this, and I don't, and they're like, just give it a go. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's kind of how it is. It's like, you know, if you don't give things a go, you never know.
Exactly.
So saying that, you never know. Would you do any more reality TV? Because I've been following you on Twitter for a while, and I've been seeing that you're all about Love Island.
Do you know, that's just really fun. I do. It's like really me. I love Love Island. I do, because again, I think as human beings, and it's human nature, you're obsessed with watching humans. You know what I mean? Because you're like, oh my God, I don't know what it is. It's kind of like, oh, you know, am I really like that? Are people really like that? Oh my God, I hope I never do that. You know, that kind of thing, because that's what we do. It's just, it seems to be just built into us. But like, I mean, you know, like I said, come on. I mean, I did crack a joke not so long ago about saying that I was heading into Love Island, but you know, hello, like I said, you know what I mean? It's like, one, I wouldn't class myself as a social media influencer, because that's all that seems to be in there at the moment. But I do think I wish a lot of these reality TV shows went back to grassroots and get the unknowns in there. Do you know what I'm saying? And mix it up a bit. It's kind of like, you know, it's because I think we went through a phase, didn't we, where the same old people were appearing in every single show. But even with regards to Big Brother, you know, towards the end, it wasn't what you'd class normal everyday people going in there.
No.
It was people who'd already been on this show and this show and this show. And it's like, and I think that's kind of where it lost a little bit of its oomph.
Yeah.
But I do love Love Island. I've got no intentions
So
of
do
going in
we.
there, and I am not strutting my stuff in a bikini. Or, do you know what I'm saying? It's like, and that's but again, it's kind of like, you know, you know what it's like. You got so many people watching everything that you do. All you have to do is just do one tweet, and boom, it ends up in a newspaper. And something. I'll just sit here and laugh, to be fair, because it's. But what gets me is then the reaction to that appearing, and I'm like, you know something, I'm kind of like, get real. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, no, I have not begged Love Island to let me onto Love Island. Do you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like, it's just amazing what some people believe, but then you've got the other people, you know, the other side, and they're like, come on, don't be silly. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, never believe everything that's written in the press.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit more about Balls to Cancer.
See, Balls to Cancer, it's an absolute, I'm an ambassador for the charity Balls to Cancer. It's an amazing charity that's been set up by I can honestly say, two friends of mine now, Mark and Susan Bates. And they've both, like, Mark lost his dad to cancer and Sue lost her granddad to cancer. and they originally set it up as obviously, hence the word Balls to Cancer, a male cancer charity. But obviously, you know, due to kind of like the need, I suppose, for support, they actually now would help, and it's available and open to anybody who's been affected in any way, shape, or form by cancer. And some of the things they do, and this is, again, it's kind of because it's what I'd class as a small independent charity. They don't receive any funding at all, and they wholly rely on fundraisers. But again, because, you know, because they're so small, and they're one of the most hands-on charities that you could ever come across in your life. I mean, just Christmas just gone, we actually provided over 2,000 full Christmas dinners to families up and down the country who are affected by cancer. They do, you know, they make dreams come true, you know, like as part of bucket wish lists, and, you know, they help towards funeral costs. And it's just, they provide free chemo packs to anyone who's undergoing chemotherapy, and they just go above and beyond. And it just breaks my heart that, you know, that they do struggle in like the last, you know, 14, 16 months, due to obviously COVID and the pandemic. It's really hit them hard because they weren't able to fundraise. And but they're still providing all these services, and increase in demand has actually is sadly risen. Do you know what I'm saying? And it just goes to show, you know, how many people and families, etc., are out there that are affected by cancer, and they obviously are only the ones that we get to know about. You know, it's about raising, you know, making awareness there as well. And then obviously on a Thursday, I do an amazing, I mean, you know, I do an Ask Auntie Dee. It's a live, it's on the Balls to Cancer Facebook and YouTube live. And I'm just in my element because I get to interview, like, you know, celebrities. I call them celebrities because I've never ever called myself one of them, because I just don't see myself as one of them. Where I'm just getting these like famous people coming in, and I get so starstruck. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like the second they pop up on my screen, I'm like, oh my God, they're here.
That's like us with you today.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
she's in the chat. She's in the like waiting room. I was like, oh my God.
So, and I am, honest to God, and I'm just like, you know, I just go out to like a real like giggling starstruck girl, and I'm like, and the second they go off, I'm like, oh my God, you know, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I've interviewed some absolutely amazing people on there, and I've been doing that now for just over a year, because we started it up in the middle of lockdown, to be fair. And we've got a queue, and I'm like, a queue of people queuing up to talk to me, and I'm like, are you serious? Do you know what I mean? And it's like,
well, I've watched it, and I must say, the fact that you don't have your own show is ridiculous. You're such a good interviewer, and you really are. Like, is there anything that you're not good at? Because honestly, like, you're amazing.
I don't know. It's like, you know what I'm saying? And this is kind of, it's just weird. It's like, I don't know. I just don't see myself like that at all. And it's like, but again, I'm of the mindset, and it's like sitting here chatting to you guys today. Do you know what I mean? It's like, there's no airs and graces. There shouldn't be airs and graces. I'm just a normal person.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And this is kind of like, and when they send me through, I'm going like, oh my God, how am I going to talk to them? Do you know what I mean? Because I've watched them on the TV for like forever.
Yeah.
But like with a lot of them, it's kind of like, we just end up having a laugh.
Yeah.
And I think it is because, again, it's kind of like, it's not an interview where I want to ask you all these serious, deep questions, and I just want to have a chat. You know what I mean? I'm nosy. I just want to know this.
Especially in lockdown, you can't really speak to people, so it's just nice to get out and like.
Honest to God, I think a lot of them, because we've had a few occasions where people have gone, you know, well, can you send me through a list of what questions she's going to ask, and rare. And I think it's still like, because I'm the unknown.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Whereas I haven't got that up there reputation, etc. And it's like, they're probably thinking, oh, bloody hell, she could fire anything at us, you know, that kind of thing. But then it's kind of like when they come on, then afterwards they're always messing. They go, "Oh my God, I absolutely love that," and it was so yeah, because I'm not what you'd class as a professional journalist. I don't
Yeah.
care. Do you know what I mean? I just want to have a laugh with you and just ask you questions about, you know, because I've been fanning over these people for like ever. And I just want to sit here and find out if you're normal. Do you know what I mean? It's like, are you really as normal as me? And a lot of times, you know, and they kind of are. And I think that's what makes it so, that really makes it work.
Oh, brilliant. Well, we've had such an amazing time today. That's all the questions that we had for you.
Oh.
Thank you
Thank
so
you
much
so
for
much.
coming.
Oh, you're so welcome. Honest to God, you really, really are. And it's like I said, it's been great just popping on. You just have a chat. Do you know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
a little guy got me
Yeah.
cup of tea, and I've got him loitering here, ready to rip these headphones off my head. His friends
Well,
have probably been messaging him, going, "Yo, gee, where are you? Where are you?" He's like, "My mum's got me
well,
headphones."
we'll let you we'll let him get back to playing then. But thank you so much.
Oh, you're
Thank
so
you.
welcome, and keep in touch. See, you're a secret Ask Auntie Dee watcher, and I didn't even know that you watch
Yeah,
it
we are.
secretly, Alex.
We're secret watchers.
You have to pop on the lives and say hello.
Yeah, we will do now. Now we've met you.
Oh, bless you. But listen, you guys take care, and
You
anything I can
too.
do for you at all. And good luck with your podcast.
Oh, thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Oh,
Thank
bless you.
you.
Look after yourselves. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, that's not recording.